Hey guys, Mech Knight here. I recently went to a dimension, appearing like the common game in my world, Dungeons and Dragons. There was this entire city built from the economy of gladiator arenas. I went there to try and save some people. No dice. I got caught before I could, but I managed to grab some information on some of the people there. That information will be what I'm presenting in this log. Their top gladiator is someone called Jameith Solviath. Now, he's pretty strong, even by my standards, and I've come across some overpowered people in my travels. He carries an axe, and he's one of the best people there. He's teamed up with this monster. It was a green one, named the Murky Wazalok, and is one of the great warlocks who has created all these arenas, first creations, who he's since abandoned for not being scary enough. See, he takes his power from the fear of his gladiators, essentially creating an infinite cycle so that he can create more horrifying monsters. And our gladiator here actually got his pelt partially from one of the beasts he first killed entering the arenas, only 10 minutes in. Back then, he was just a teenager, only 16 years old. Obviously, he was in the lower layers, but that didn't mean anything with how quickly he took out that beast. It was a spotted bear beast, one with a gruesome mouth filled with jagged spikes. And the more beasts he's killed, the more he adds them to his appearance, as essentially another form of defence. But when he met the Murky Walkzon, essentially they both formed a plan to take out the Warlock themselves. They failed, but they got incredibly close, and the Warlock has since been depowered. I'll take you through that story now. Now, our gladiator here, and his sidekick, the Beast, they were simply walking around the arena trying to find any rations, as they were low on supplies, when they found another gladiator, a young teenager, no older than 12, by the name of Boo. She wore a pink armour, crafted from some beast scales, but she was young and fearful. Now, when they met her, they decided to travel alongside her, and she claimed she was actually related to the Warlock. And so, our heroes decided to finally formulate a plan to take the Warlock out. However, over this period of them training with Boo and trying to find a way to get into the Warlock's castle, they felt like they were being watched, stalked by some beast. They didn't know what it was, but whenever they felt the feeling they were being looked at, they could always see in the corner of their eyes some sort of reptilian figure, but without any colour to it. And they finally made it to a point where they were happy with their training and ready to take on the king. That's what the Warlock called himself. He went by many names, all of them referring to his status. See, he was one of the most powerful warlocks of this world, but he abused that power. From my research, I even think he might have been able to use his magic to uncover the ability to go to other worlds, but at the moment that's just a theory. All of our heroes made it to the castle, and they went to go find the Warlock, going up towering spiral staircases. But as they neared the top, they heard the screeches of a terrifying beast. Some sort of horrifying reptilian monster, a fusion of multiple beasts' elements, crawled against the walls and came towards them. Over their multi-month journey, The heroes had acquired many friends and allies along the arenas. However, at some points, they had to face such fierce monsters that they had to hide out for weeks. Boo and both of the others were staying in an underground bunker they found, just to avoid a pack of yellow beasts with visor-like eyes and tentacles splitting off of them. As they had found our gladiators and chased them almost 20 miles. But, as our heroes encountered the beasts before them, they had never felt such fear, not even in them moments. A massive, scaly beast, appearing purple and blue, charged at them, crawling up the wall and temporarily camouflaging and turning invisible. As it leapt at them, our gladiator hit them away with his axe, sending them crashing to the ground, and they all simply ran past. They burst through the doors to the castle roof and saw the warlock, surrounded by crystallized fear, formed into yellow crystal spikes. As our heroes approached them, they got ready to fight. And the beast came back up the stairs, circling all three of them. The warlock simply stared at them. He applauded them for how well they had fought, managing to get to him. But he said it had all been for nothing. He used his magic to grip them in the pink, veiny, glowing tendrils of pure energy. And he created a portal. Clouds burst out around them, and their form disfigured and rippled, transforming between states, stretching and contorting like electricity. And then they were gone to where the warlock punished all his gladiators, the Winterlands. As they appeared in the snowy terrain, scourged by a terrifying blizzard, they heard the screeches of a wailing beast. Like a yeti, it charged towards them, and like a gorilla, it walked on all fours, knuckle-walking and charging towards them as it screeched. They eventually killed it, but they almost died, both from it and from the freezing cold weather. They found a cave to rest the night, where they were arguing amongst each other, disagreeing on what the best way to defeat the warlock is, and, ultimately, losing their sanity, their ability to survive this hellscape. Boo and our gladiator champion argued in the cave, unsure on how to figure out the best way, and even the beast they were allied with was disagreeing with them. In a sense, they had all split up, left each other, but they would eventually team up again. As they all went on their own quests separately, they would reunite near the warlock's castle, as in essence they all had the same goal: defeat the warlock once and for all. As they made it to his towering fortress, they fought the warlock. The warlock used all of his power, all of his scream and fear energy to battle with them. He could transform all of that magical energy into sonic blasts, one of his favourite attacks, as he wiped out almost all of our gladiator's senses. He summoned beasts on a whim to fight them alongside him. And eventually, they had to take things elsewhere. They fought throughout the entire fortress, even going to the basement, where multiple pillars were kept. It was a dark, dingy space, lit only by lanterns and cobwebs. And overall, it was damp and wet, covered in blood. It seemed that was his test area for creating new monsters, and they were fighting right in the middle of it, going between multiple habitats with multiple different beasts already in them. The Warlock was confused about one of his creations, even one that he considered to be faulty, was able to team up with these, as the murky Wlazek had done. But his confusion soon turned to anger, which further fueled his magical power. This seemed unusual to our heroes, however, as he himself, a Warlock, had a tight allyship with one of the beasts he created. It was a purple reptile beast, blue and scaly, covered in alternating coloured scales and able to turn invisible and camouflage on a whim. And they were incredibly flexible as well, able to move around pillars and clamber over walls with ease. They spat blood, and their head was wide, able to eat their beasts in one bite like a snake. Eventually, they left the Warlock so scarred and bruised that he wasn't able to fight anymore, simply using the portal to teleport away to some place where no more gladiators could find him and attack him. All in all, the Warlock was contrasting himself, going against his own views. He hated the monsters he worked with, only valuing them for the fear they created. But in part, he was also a monster, not only for putting these gladiators in this arena against their will, but also because he physically held the features of a monster. He had 4 eyes and crab claws that he used on himself to be more fearful. In essence, everything he drew his power from was fear, so everything he did needed to create it. I definitely want to go back there and log some of the creatures and gladiators involved in how James of Solviath and his beast ally met. But that's a story for another day.